Okay, so that's working. So yeah, camera problems. Well, boomer problems. But anyway, this is going to be Thinking Man's Thursday for May 11th, 2023, if I recall correctly. And as usual, one of the mandates of this program, of this particular program, this particular series that I do, is to talk to the guys generally about roles and relationships. Or, I suppose, man's relationship to society in general, or the Western man's relationship, the white man's relationship to society, how white men should walk through the world, how Western men should walk through the world. I mean, really, there's any number of different ways you can look at this. I basically just think of this as male advice that I kind of wish I'd gotten sooner. Oh, what an asshole. Almost forgot. But I'm starting this one a little differently because this one's a little bit of a different topic. And it's been spurred by something both Stormy and I have noticed. Speaking of, I need to just pause this for a moment and give my lady a call. I'll be right back. Yes, I love you too. Bye-bye. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, slightly lost the thread of what I was saying. Anyway, yeah, this has been kind of inspired or instigated by the situation of, well, various mutual friends of ours, and by well, just episodes from my past and hers as well. And what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is kind of a dark side of relationships that people don't often. I'm sorry, I'm being fidgety and picky, but you guys deserve the best I can manage to give you. And the Dutch tilt wasn't working, though this wobbly camera is kind of fun. Anyway, oh wow, I'm looking a little tired this morning. So yeah, how to get out of a relationship that's not working for you. Now, immediately, a lot of guys go directly into boy mode and go, "You just walk away." No, you should never just walk away. Ghosting people is bullshit. You don't like it when it's done to you, don't fucking do it to somebody else. But there's different levels to that as well. If you've been with somebody for a week, you don't ghost them. You call them up. You say, "Yeah, I don't think this is working. Sorry. You want to have coffee and talk about it?" Say goodbye, whatever. You can do that. If that's what you like to do, you can offer to do a goodbye ritual sort of thing. Or a goodbye ceremony or whatever. Ritual ceremony, whatever term you want to use. It doesn't have to be any sort of religious overtone. And if it does have a religious overtone, that's up to you too. Fucking eyelashes. Anyway, that's like a very short term thing, like a week, 3 months. If you've been together less than a season, you're not that invested. At this point, Stormy and I have been together for over 6 months, and it's going well enough that we're looking at moving in together. So, obviously, things are going well. And we both have the benefit of decades of maturity. If you've been with someone for over a year, then your lives are probably very well linked, or thoroughly linked anyway. And it's much more difficult to get away from someone. Now, this is in the example of no abuse, just a relationship that has stopped working. In that case, then and I will make a point for everybody out there, men and women. If you spend, and I do have a very simple formula that has worked for me since I was just out of my teens. If you spend more time fighting than fucking, it's not working. Now, granted, when you reach the age where sex kind of becomes less important to you, or if you're in a relationship with someone who isn't that hung up on sex, sex is very important for me. It's one of my, well, it's obviously a good thing to do, but it's a great way to build intimacy. It is a great way to express love. It's a great way to, well, it's a great workout if you're doing it right. But sex also drops all those barriers that a lot of people put up. And you really do get to see what someone's character is like if you can manage to keep your head somewhat about you. But some people, sex isn't that important to them. If you're like me, and sex is very important to you, and that's where, now, this also assumes for a lack of mental health issues. If you have severe low self-esteem, things of that nature, sex is probably not what you should base your relationship on. Well, you should never base a relationship in sex anyway. Sex should come once the relationship is established. But if you're in an abusive relationship, and I'll do this fast, because if you're in an abusive relationship or a relationship that doesn't work for you, you never should have really got into that relationship. But more importantly, if you're finding that you spend more time fighting than fucking, and it doesn't have to be actual sex. If you spend more time being angry with each other than you do being intimately caring for each other, then you have a problem. And that's when you need to start looking at, maybe this isn't working for us. But you have to take into account the amount of time you've accumulated with your partner. If you've been together over a year, or over 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and the relationship has stopped working for you, then yeah, you need to have a very frank discussion with your partner and say, look, this is not working for me. You don't necessarily have to couch it that way. You don't have to be very blunt. But you also can't pussyfoot around it. If you're in a relationship that doesn't work for you, you need to get out of it and find one that does. Or you need to spend some time working on yourself. But if the relationship has soured, then it's not doing either one of you any good to stay in it. Now, granted, if you have children together, that can be much more difficult. But it is far better, if you ask me, for children to see two divorced, happy people working together and try to stay friends. If ladies, especially, but guys too. If your lawyer is the reason that you're angry at your ex or your soon-to-be ex, then pay attention to the fact that, your lawyer's job is to make money for himself. He's not really there to try to get the best deal for you. He's better dealing himself or themselves. But to me, it looks better to me if if you have a family unit, the better thing to me seems to be separate amicably as you can manage it. More than anything else, don't use your kids as weapons against each other. You're only going to end up, eventually those children will figure out, oh, mom or dad used me as a weapon against mom or dad. Yeah, that's going to cause you problems in a different relationship, one that is actually lifelong. But if you're in a romantic relationship and it's gone bad and you want out, tell your partner. tell your partner the truth. What's going on right now just isn't working for me. And if you're lucky, your partner will hear you. Your partner will try to make it better for you, because that's what a good partner would do. And hopefully, and I will say hopefully, because passions are, one of the things people generally have a hard time controlling. And if things turn bad while you're getting out of the relationship, don't stop getting out of the relationship. Once you've made that decision to get out, you have to stick to it. Sometimes the only way out is through. Whether it's a bad relationship or a shitty job or a task that you want to get done that you're procrastinating on, sometimes the only way to get out of it is to get through it, is to get it done and over with. And I will admit to having some difficulty putting these thoughts together right now, because I'm in a relationship that is going very, very well. But as I said, because of the conversation I had with Stormy about some mutual friends and episodes in our pasts, it's one of those things where, okay, we'll talk strategies. So you have the simple strategy of, just walk away. See ya, I'm gone, bye-bye. That's something you do in a relationship that is not particularly deeply involved and not particularly long. It hasn't been of great duration. If, however, you're in a relationship that, if there are kids, if your lives are interlinked, maybe you're living together, maybe you've been together for a very long time, and a very long time is a matter of perspective. I'm pushing 50. And for me, at this point, a very long time in a relationship would be 5-6 years. Because that's about a 10th of my life. It's actually over a 10th of my life. But if you're a teenager, well, you shouldn't be in a sexual relationship yet anyway, because you're not old enough to really have the maturity for that. But of course, teens are teens and they'll do what they want. But if you're in a relationship that isn't working for you, get out of it. Some of those strategies can be hard. For guys, it can be a little easier sometimes. But the old school guys, especially, guys like me, we're much more capable of existing alone. It sucks. Don't get me wrong. It absolutely sucks to be alone. But we're much more capable of it because we are used to and somewhat trained to be self-sufficient. Now, the fact of the matter being, a lot of guys, and you'll see this misconception that, women have this inbuilt support network and guys don't. No, guys do. We just do it differently. Guys, in helping one of their friends get over a bad relationship, and this is when they're out of it, it's not uncommon for us to go out, get our buddy drunk, get him laid. Not a great choice, in my opinion. But, yeah. Or at least to take our buddy's mind off of it. And one thing with guys is, when we don't dwell on a problem, a lot of times, the solution to that problem will become self-evident. Or the mental state that we find ourselves in will reveal itself, and it will make much more sense to us to walk away from that relationship. Whereas with women, they do tend to have more of an emotional support from their their friends, and their peers. That said, women are much more focused on emotion and helping each other than men are. At least when it comes to the emotional support role. Guys will take care of each other's mental health more than each other's emotional health. I think that's probably the better way to put it. Guys will find things to do with each other to lift each other's spirits, as opposed to counseling each other. Whereas women are much more naturally suited to the counseling role, and generally tend to do that for themselves and their friends much more easily. And I do apologize for being slightly rambling about this. But the best strategy to get out of a relationship, and this will probably work no matter what level of a relationship you're in, talk to your partner. Tell your partner the truth. The absolute, unvarnished truth. If you feel like you're not valued, tell them that. If you feel like the fire has gone out of the relationship, tell them that. If you feel like you're being used, be absolutely honest and tell them you feel like you're being used. But also, guys, you cannot leave a relationship without baggage. You will bring parts of yourself that develop during that relationship into your next one. Be aware of that too. But as far as getting out of a bad relationship, if it's abusive, by all means, walk the fuck away. Ghost that person. Ignore them. Put them out of your life if they're abusive. And this goes for women too. And for women, it can be a little more difficult. Not that much more difficult, though. I mean, we do live in the internet age. It's very difficult to completely extricate yourself from someone. Especially if they know intimate details about you, like, you know, your passwords, or at the very least your logins, for example. Or your nicknames, whatever the fucking term is. Like Boomer. But if you're in a bad relationship and you want out of it, you tell your partner, I'm sorry, I just want out. And as brutal as that is, it's better to rip that band-aid off and get out comfortably. Try to be as amicable as possible. Right? I mean, don't forget, this is someone, especially if you told them you love them, this is someone you've made a promise to. The moment you open your mouth and use those 3 words, I love you, you have made a promise. Sometimes it just doesn't come through. Or true, depending on how you want to term it. But if you're in a relationship where you spend more time in animosity than intimacy, more time fighting than fucking, then that's the formula you need to measure your relationship against. And intimacy can be any number of things. It can be cuddling, actually having sex. It can be just spending time with each other. One of the things Stormy and I are famous for is she will indulge in one of her hobbies. I'll indulge in one of mine. We don't speak, sometimes for hours. Well, no, we're both pretty gabberous people, so it's not hours, but we will spend quite a lot of comfortable silence together. And that's fine. But if that silence is because you don't want to talk to each other, it's not good. Anyway, guys, I'm coming up on 20 minutes, and I discovered that 20 minutes tends to be the good upload time for YouTube videos. So, do please like, share, subscribe, and comment. I do have a subscribe star and a PayPal, links below. Other than that, you know, yeah, it's better to get out of it than stay in it. Anyway, guys, I hate to be a bit of a bring down today, but some hard, serious subjects had to be covered. So, I hope you're having good days, I hope you continue to have good days, and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye-bye.